Pharisees, the Sadducees, the religious leaders of the day were very self-righteous. And Jesus is trying to tell you self-righteous is not the way to go. There's a holiness that it does not involve self-righteousness. And he's going to show us another area of this as he comes to chapter 7. And it is so appropriate for what's going on today. Look at chapter 7, verse 1. Judge not. We can just stop right there, can't we? Judge not. But he says, judge not that you be not judged. He says, for what with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged, and with what measure you measure it, it shall be measured to you again. Now, what is he talking about? The Pharisees and Sadducees, the Jewish leaders, they established. They had the Old Testament law, and there's 620 laws in the Old Testament altogether. Everybody thinks of 10. There's 620. That's enough laws to keep everybody going forever. Okay, but they added to it the wisdom of man. They're going to add more. They're going to make it harder and more difficult. And they created all these rules and all these regulations, and because they all determine what made you a holy guy, what made you right. Not what God said, but what man came up with. And as a result, people all the time were making judgments not on your attitude, but on the way you look and the way you act. Okay? Especially the way you look.
Yes.
Okay? Now, and this goes on, it's still going on today, and people are still making these judgments. The judgment that Jesus is talking about here is we're told to make judgments. We're told to make judgments about right and wrong. We're told to make judgments. If you're ever called to sit if you ever called in court to be a jury, on jury duty, you're going to have to make judgments. Okay? We have to make judgments on what's right and wrong. That's not what he's talking about. He's simply saying you can't judge a person's motive because you don't know. So what I'm talking about. Let's just say we're all sitting here today, and as we're sitting here today, all of a sudden I whip out my 45 or my 44 Magnum and I blow Cody away. And Cody is dead. Now here's the thing. So Cody's dead, and you're all sitting here and you're going, what? So you all made an immediate judgment. I murdered Cody. Okay, now here's the thing. That's a right judgment. That's not the judgment Jesus is talking about. The question is, you don't know why I killed him. You don't know why I killed him. You can't make a judgment on why I killed him. What you all didn't know, and that I knew, is that he converted to Muslim, and he had a vest on, and he was going to blow everybody up in his house, and I just saved all your lives. Whoa. You know? Whoa. Here, let me give you another. Let me give you another. I thought about this a few weeks ago. I took my cousin out to lunch. She's my first cousin, and Diane and I hadn't seen each other in years, and we went to lunch together.
Thank you.
And Diane's about my age. She's about a year or two younger. She's an attractive lady, but, I got to think about it. Can you imagine, Mike, you came into the same restaurant, and you see me sitting there with another woman, and it's my cousin, but you don't know that. And you're going, wow, there's Steve over there, he's out there with another girl. You don't know who she is, but isn't that what people do? Okay, here I am sitting here having lunch with my cousin who I haven't seen in 25 years, and we're just having a great time, but you don't know that, and people make judgments. Lindsay, today, we all had lunch today. I told Lindsay this was part of she gave me a good illustration today. She was, we all had lunch together today, and Jack, our little guy, she was carrying him around the restaurant and entertaining him a little bit while the rest of us finished eating, okay? She was doing a noble service, okay? Now, here's the thing. People were looking at her, thinking that she's the mother of this little boy.
He's the mom.
Yeah.
Town harlot.
I have two people literally asked if I was his mom. I'm like, I am a 14-year-old girl. This is not my kid.
But people were making judgments, okay? We do it all the time. And Jesus is, and the point here, and it's so good, he says, we have to make judgments. The scripture tells us to make judgments. But we can't make judgments on a person's motive, all right? Don't assume you know what's going on. Because notice what he says. He says, judge not that you aren't judged. Because the very person doing the judging, how would you like to have everybody else judge you on the way that you judge people? And he comes back and he says, for what judgment you judge with, you're going to be judged with by other people. Ooh. And what measure you measure, it shall be measured you again. He's simply saying what you're saying and what you're doing is going to come back on you.
I really wish I had been a lot nicer.
Well, yeah, you know, when you think about it, I mean, and we're all guilty of this to a certain extent. We all are, all right? I learned this truth a long time ago, and I've tried my best not to do this anymore. It's a hard thing. Because you read, especially like we're in this political season with all this controversy, it's really, really hard not to think about the motives behind what everybody's doing, okay? But we're not in a position to know that. We can't know that, all right? And Jesus said, you can't judge on that, all right? Because it comes verse 3. It gets even better. He says, and why beholdest thou the mote that is in your brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in your own eye? Now, this is classic stuff. When he talks about a mote here, maybe another word for it would be a splinter. All right? Splinter, or, you know, some kind of, you've all got something in your eye at some point in time, right? And you probably asked somebody in the family or somebody you're with, can you see anything in my eye? And they're looking in there, you know, and they don't know what they're doing either, but sometimes they can see something, sure? Mm-hmm. Now, suppose you got that same person, suppose you got a splinter in your eye, all right? And you say, can you see anything in my eye? And I come over to you, and what you don't know is, this is all I can see anyway, all right? Because I got this big thing in my way, all right? You're going, well, don't look, you can't see anything in my eye with that, all right? And Jesus is simply saying, how can we judge somebody else when we've got a bigger problem? Again, this self-righteous attitude, all right? You just can't do that, all right? And yet, isn't that what we do all the time? Yeah. You hear it all the time. People making these judgments, and he says, you can't do it. He says, in verse 4, he says, or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull the mote out of your eye, and behold, the beam is in your eye. He says, how can you say to somebody, well, I'm going to help you, I'll get that out of there for you, and I can't even see you do it, because I've got a bigger problem than you've got. And yet, that's exactly what self-righteousness does, doesn't it? People are all self-righteous. They're going, oh, yeah, I know what's better. I'm right, you're wrong, you know. And everybody puts the rules and regulations out. Yes? Okay, good.
Oh, we both had a question.
This is amazing. This is amazing. You're the guest here. You can go first.
Wouldn't that just be an act of kindness, though?
What?
I mean, if he...
To try to get the splinter out of his eye?
Yeah.
Sure it would, but here's the point. The point isn't the splinter and the mote.
Right.
The point is, me and my self-righteousness is going to try to help you, and I can't help you because I don't even see what all's wrong with me. That's the whole point here. But think about this. Would you like somebody trying to get something out of your eye that's blind?
Probably not.
Well, what Jesus is saying is they are so blinded by their own self-righteousness,
right.
They can't see what you need, okay? And yet they think they do. Okay. Oh, Lord, they're everywhere.
I feel like a town drunk telling you have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
They're very good, yes.
I'm trying to help you with it.
Okay, so I guess I was wrong about the dog thing, right?
I'm glad you were wrong about the dog thing, yes.
It says on verse 6, the next one down, it says, do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast pearls before swine.
See there, I'm going to get to that, all right? But yeah, you're right about the dogs, all right?
Alright.
Look at verse 5
what
what
Jesus... I
Jesus...
had life in a nutshell.
Jesus, you can't...
We have to cover the...
You can't help somebody if you don't see how bad, like Mike said, excellent point. If you're the town drunk, how can you help me quit drinking? All right, it's not going to happen. Okay, and yet that's what people in their self-righteousness thinking. I can help you because I know what's right and wrong, even though I really don't, and I'm not living the right way it's supposed to. Okay? Because look at verse 5. What does Jesus says? You hypocrite. All right. First cast the beam out of your own eye, then you shall be clearly cast out the mote out of your brother's eye. He says, get your own act together. Then you can help somebody else. Okay?
There's like the he who soon casts first stone.
Yeah, same kind of thing. You know, it's like this. For those of you who've been on airplanes before, they go through the same routine every time you get on an airplane. It's required by law. The stewardess, whatever they are, they always tell you this: if we lose pressure and the masks fall, and you need to put your oxygen mask on, put yours on first before you help somebody else, because you can't help them if you can't breathe. All right? So before I can correct you, before I can do something to help you with your problem, I gotta what? I gotta fix mine. Okay? But people are just notorious for this. Oh, Lord. Just listen. Lindsay, going to school tomorrow, listen to all the judgments kids make. You'll run out of illustrations tomorrow. All right? Because they're going to make judgments about everything in the world. Those of you who are going to work tomorrow, same thing. Those of us who've been around long enough, we've heard it all our lives. right? It's just what people do. And we have no business. Again, we're going to make judgments about right and wrong, but we're not going to know why somebody did. We're talking about this kid at Sandy Hook, all right? We know what he did. He shot all those people. We don't know why.
Allegedly.
We don't know why. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. And everybody's trying, the world's trying to say, well, you know, this kid did this and his mother did this. We don't know because nobody was in that kid's heart. We don't know. But there's no question. He killed all those people. Okay. Down he went. So we got to understand there's a judging, and then there's an area we can't judge, and that's the heart. We can't judge the heart. All right? Now notice what Jesus says. Let's get back to the dogs a minute. Verse 6. He says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and cut you or lacerate you. So he's saying. Now, what is he talking about? When we think of dogs in this country, we think of domesticated dogs. Although these are demon dogs, we already know that. But the thing is, these are pets. All right, we're used to pets, and people treat dogs better in this country than they treat people in a lot of cases. All right, back then, the dogs were used to shepherd the sheep. They were sheep dogs, and some other dogs were used for hunting and that kind of stuff. Most of the dogs were mongrels. They ran the streets wild. Nobody had pet dogs. They didn't have pet dogs, right?
They didn't have dogs.
No, they didn't have dogs. They didn't have anything, all right? So they were, and these dogs they ran the streets wild. So when Jesus calls somebody a dog, he's not talking about your pet dog. He's talking about a mongrel. He's talking about somebody who's running the streets wild. He's talking about somebody who's out of control. And then he talks about dogs. He talks about swine. Swine are pigs. The Jews looked at them as the unholiest thing around. All right, they were the ultimate in uncleanness Jews. That's why they don't eat pork. Okay, so no Jew's going to have any pigs or swine around. But the pigs and swine are much like the dogs. If they were around, they were wandering the streets and the garbage dumps too. Okay, but stay with me on this. Jesus is saying, don't take the truth of God's word and give it to people who are so totally and completely against the things of God, because they're not going to listen. Leave that to the Holy Spirit of God to get to them, because you're not going to get them. Not until there's a heart change already, so that their heart is warmed up to listen to it. The only thing you can do is give people the gospel. That's all you can do. Years ago, there was see that demon dog? I said it, and he's helping me prove my point. All right. So here's the thing. You got there was a guy on Lou Gordon. Do you remember Lou Gordon? All right.
Yeah.
He had one of the original talk shows in Detroit. This was years ago. None of you know who Lou Gordon is, okay? And one night Lou Gordon was gone, and Dave Dials, who was a sportscaster at Channel 7 in Detroit, who was also a very dedicated Christian, was doing a show. And Madeline Murray O'Hare came on there, one of the great atheists running around the country trying to get prayer out of schools and all that kind of stuff. And this, like I said, this is back in the day. And they called some, I think he was a Lutheran guy, they had him on there. And Dave Dials asked if he could bring his pastor on there. And his pastor was from Hazel Park, and a terrific guy. And it was interesting what he did. There, Madeline Murray O'Hare said her part, and the Lutheran guy said his part, and finally he turned it over to his pastor. And this is what his pastor did. He didn't talk about evolution. He didn't talk about creation. He talked about the gospel, and talked about how God had changed his life, and how the Lord had moved into his heart and life and saved him from his sin. And he gave this whole thing, controlled the rest of the whole segment, giving the gospel. And guess what? Madeline Murray O'Hare had nothing to say.
Never listened to it.
But here's the point. She had nothing to say, because he wasn't arguing with her about creation or evolution. He was simply telling her the gospel. This lady who berated God and berated the Bible and didn't have anything to do with it, all he did was share the gospel. That was his whole responsibility. You're not going to get anywhere arguing with people who are totally and completely against the Word of God and all that God does. You're not going to do it. That's why Jesus says, don't be sharing, and he says it's like giving it to dogs and swine. Just don't do it. So keep it simple. You're going to get nowhere arguing with these people.
But you still have to.
Yeah, you still have to. What the Lord wants us to do is, again, tell them the gospel. That's all we can do. Tell them the Lord wants to save them, and tell them they're a sinner and that kind of stuff. But when they want to argue with you about doctrinal truth, you're wasting your time. He says, don't waste your time doing it, because they're not ready to listen yet. You know what I'm talking about. You know
You can only wallow with a pig so long till you find out he likes it.
Yeah, there you go. And but there's so many people. They're just so totally antagonistic and so totally hard against it. Jesus says, "Don't do it." Okay, he says, "You're wasting your time. You're casting." And I mean, a pearl is something of great value. Well, if you throw it to a pig, does a pig care? No, he doesn't care. He just soon get mad at you because you threw him something he couldn't eat. All right, so that's what he's simply saying. All right, you with me up to this point? All right, stay with me. Come to verse 7. Jesus now does the contrast. He's going to show us the right way. He says, "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened out unto you. For everyone that asks receives. He that seeks finds. And to him that knocks, it shall be opened." All right? What he's talking about now, he's talking about prayer. He says, look, if you need something, if you need clarification on how to live, if you want to, instead of trying to do it on your own, and instead of trying to operate in your own heart and life, he says, look, ask God for his direction. When he says ask, seek, you're going to find. The asking and seeking is just you keep asking, you keep seeking, you keep asking, you keep seeking, you keep asking, you keep seeking. Jerry and I were talking about the tenses of the Greek. The tense of the Greek here is you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. I have a daughter. And she has the gift of never stopping. Never. Melissa will stay after you and 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 stay after you.
Sound like my sister.
Well, there, see, we all got one, all right? But she never stopped, all right? If you give Melissa credit for one thing, the girl had persistence, okay? And what Jesus is simply saying here, your relationship to God has to be one of what? Persistence. Keep asking. Keep seeking. He says, and you're going to find eventually. Let me give you a simple story. Howard Hendricks, he went home to be the Lord a few months ago. He taught at Dallas Seminary for years. Tremendous communicator of the Word of God. If you ever want to read great books by Howard Hendricks, read Howard Hendricks. He's a good guy. Anyway, Howard Hendricks was up speaking once in a service, and he said, "I've been praying for my dad for 38 years that he'd come to salvation in Christ." 38 years. And he says, "I'm going to keep praying till the Lord gets him." And there was a guy sitting in the audience who that night started praying. He says, "Lord, I would consider it a great honor if I had the joy of leading Howard Hendricks' father to the Lord, to you, Lord." He says, "Because Howard Hendricks has done so much for me." And later, several months later, maybe a year later, listen to the story. The guy's driving down the street in Washington, D.C. If you've ever driven in Washington, D.C., you know it's a zoo, okay? He's driving down the street in Washington, D.C., and as he comes to a stoplight, there's a guy sitting on a bench. And he looks over and he says, "Man, that guy looks just like Howard Hendricks." Pulled around the corner, found a parking place, which is a miracle in itself in Washington, D.C., walked back around the corner and walked up to this guy and he says, "Sir, excuse me, I know this is going to sound strange, but do you know a man by the name of Howard Hendricks?" And he said, "Yeah, it's my son." He said, "No kidding." He said, "Yeah." He says, "You know my son?" He goes, "Yeah." And this guy sat down and led Howard Hendricks' dad to the Lord, sitting on a park bench in Washington, D.C. Can you imagine that? Isn't that something? For 38 years, Howard Hendricks had prayed for salvation of his dad, had witnessed to him, talked to him, done everything he could to him, and this guy took up the idea and asked the Lord to give him the opportunity, and sure enough, picks him out sitting on a park bench in Washington, D.C. What are the odds? Other than the fact that maybe God was involved in that. What do you think? You know, it's an answer to prayer. Keep on asking, keep on seeking, keep on. All right. He says, because if you keep on, he says you're going to seek and you're going to find, and he that knocks on it shall be open. So in verse 9, or what man in there of you with whom his son asks bread will give him a stone? He said, if you as a father, Ruby came to you and said, "Dad, I need something to eat," you're going to give her a rock to eat?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're not going to do that. All right. He says, or if he asks a fish, will he give him a serpent? And again, the idea here is the word serpent. He's not talking about giving your kid a snake instead of a fish. A serpent could be cooked. A snake could be cooked. But it was unclean meat. And hear what the Lord's telling us here. He says, look, if God asks you to, if your child asks you for something good, you're not going to give you something that's morally and spiritually wrong. It's not what a father does. Verse 11, if then you, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father who's in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Don't you think that God knows more, but you know, don't you think God knows what you need more than you do?
Yes.
All right, those of us who are parents, maybe those of us who are not new parents, but those of us who've been around a while, all right, and you're learning this, Mike and Corey, you're learning this. You know your child wants to do something, and you know it's not good for them to do it. You know it's not good for them. So sometimes you're going to say, no. All right? Get back to my daughter, Melissa. Let me give you a classic one. She was, Melissa's, what's she, 4 years behind her brother? I think so. 3 or 4 years. Anyway, she's 3 or 4 years behind Steve. And of course, she watched Steve go through everything that we had to deal with Steve, you know. And so she comes along, and now she's a teenager, all right? And she says, Dad, I want to go do this. And I said, no, you can't go there. And she said, but you let Steve go. I said, yeah, I did. Why can't I go? I said, because you're a girl. She said, what? You got it right there. You got it right there. That's exactly the response I got. What? I'm a girl this day and time? I said, yep, you're a girl. You're a girl. And she looked at me and she said, what do you mean I'm a girl? I said, you are a girl, and I'm going to be more protective of you than I was of your brother. I said, don't particularly care whether you like it or not. It's just the way it is. I'm a dad, and I know more about what's good for you than you do. No, you're not going there. And she went, but do you know what this dad did? Did not vary, did not change. Drove Melissa crazy. All right, but the thing is, she needed to know that I knew what was best for her. Even though I told her no, it was still the right thing to do. All right? I know that. I don't have any question about that. Drove her crazy. And I loved your response. It was beautiful. Yeah. All right? Because it was just exactly what Melissa's response was.
I can't believe you told her that.
Oh,
we usually try to decorate.
No. So look at verse 12. Look at verse 12. Jesus has given us the self-righteous look. Now he's given us a righteous look. He's saying you can trust the Father. He's going to always do what's right for you, even when he tells you no. And he says, so you can either be self-righteous and judge people all over the place, or you can let God take control. And then verse 12, one of the most profound verses in all Scripture. Therefore, every time you see a therefore, what do? Find out what the therefore is there for. It takes you back to what you just said. Look, your Father in heaven is going to do what's right for you. Trust him. He says, therefore, all things whatever you would have men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law of the prophet. This is what's called the golden rule. Now notice this. Stay with me on this. This is important. There are similar phrases to this in all sorts of other religious, Hindus say it, I don't know, Buddhists say it, but theirs is all negative. I'm not going to come up and hit you because I don't want you to hit me. That's negative, all right? What Jesus is saying here, I'm going to treat you the way I want you to treat me. It's all what? Positive. All right? And here's the thing. We are really, really good at doing it the other way. Yep. And Jesus says, no, you got to treat people the way you want them to treat you. It's a hard thing to do sometimes. All right? Let me see if I can wrap this all up for you. I was in Washington, D.C. with my family years ago. We were there, and we were on what's called a VIP tour. If you ever go to Washington, D.C., check with your congressman or your senator here in the state, and they can get you VIP tickets for all the various attractions and sites. We were at the Capitol. You get it. There's a huge old long line sitting out by people just trying to get into the Capitol, take the tour. We had a VIP ticket. We got to go in this particular door over here. Special door. We're VIP, very important people. Okay? Well, we're standing at this door, and our thing was, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And we're sitting there, and it got to be 10:15, and it got to be 10:30, and the crowd was getting a little tense. Because this other crowd didn't have any VIP tickets. They're moving through pretty good, and we're just up there. And finally, not hearing anything, not knowing anything, not noticing what's going on, we got all this crowd out there, and you know what the crowd was doing? Murmuring, grumbling, making judgments. Really good at it. Finally, I said, I had enough of this. I opened the door and went in. Okay, and there's a guard sitting at a desk. So I just walked over to the guard. Have you ever watched somebody tense up before you got to him? This guy was figuring I was coming in to yell at him, give him some kind of grief, and he was just, you could see it, you know? And because I'm a crafty guy, I came up to him. I said, sir, can I help you? And he said, what? I can I help you? He said, what? I said, there's obviously a problem with this group out here. I said, if you'd be so kind to tell me what's going on, I'll tell them, and everything will be fine. And he went, well, the girl who was supposed to take you guys on your tour had a car wreck on the way in. And my question to him was, I said, is she okay? And he said, yeah, thanks for asking. I said, well, it's important. I said, he says, and we're just scrambling around to get somebody. There'll be somebody here in about 10 minutes to take you. I said, thank you. That's very gracious of you. No problem. I walked outside. I don't have any problem standing in front of a crowd. There's probably 50 people in this group. And I said, folks, can I have your attention? And I'll stop. Yeah, they don't look at me. I'm just a guy. I don't know about anything. With the shorts on. I mean, I'm a tourist. And they all stopped and looked at me. I said, folks, I just found out the girl who was supposed to take us on her tour, she had a car wreck this morning. She's okay, but she can't get here. And I said, they had to scramble around and find somebody else for us, and they'll be here in about 10 minutes. And the whole crowd, did? Okay. Everybody went, oh, okay. No more questions, no more judgments, no nothing going on. Everybody goes, oh, okay. Okay. We all knew what was a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And we all went along with the reason. There was no problem with the reason. But before that, boy, the judgment going on. Mm-hmm. I can't believe who runs this place. I can't believe who's in charge of this place. It's typical of the government. I mean, the list went on and on and on of what people were saying. It was highly entertaining. Conspiracy. It's conspiracy.
Barack Obama's fault.
Yeah, everybody. It's everybody's fault, and he wasn't even there yet. So here we were. But by me approaching that guy with a totally different approach that he was expecting. Why? Well, I like for him to treat me nice too. And guess what? Because I treated him nice, what did he do for me? He treated me nice right back. Didn't know what. Oh, yeah. I'll never forget the look on that guy's face when I said, can I help you? He went, he just didn't know what to do with that. All right? It's highly entertaining what you can do, okay? So as you and I go through life here, I want to challenge you this week. Treat people the way you want them to treat you back. Don't try to
giving everyone money.
Yeah. There you go. See if it works. All right, but the thing is, try, show to them graciousness and kindness, and you'll be amazed what you'll get back. It is totally amazing to me. Let me give you one more. You and I have all had to deal with a problem. It generally starts on the phone. You got to call somebody. Okay? It's insurance people. You could go crazy, okay? I've discovered, again, a great truth. I get on the phone with them, and and you can tell, they're there to handle problems, and they hear them all day long.
Morning, how you doing?
Yeah, well, exactly. I get on there, I say, hey, good morning. I said, this is Steve Sparks. How you doing today? And they go, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I said, I got a little problem here, and I sure hope you can help me. And they said, well, tell me about it, So I tell them what's going on, and all the way through, they're researching and putting me on hold and all this kind of stuff. I never get bent out of shape with these people. I never get upset with these people. Why? Because they're going to help me. Mm-hmm. They're going to help me. And if I can, I make them laugh a little bit. Oh, this is good stuff. Yeah. All right? Because they're having a good time with me. I'm not a pain to them. They don't mind helping you if you're not a pain. All right? Because we all know people who are pains. Okay? We all know that. I'm in a position, I work at Magic Windows, and I'm in a position where I deal with customers all day long, every day, and some of them aren't happy. I know you find that hard to believe. You see our Magic Window commercials and everything's wonderful. Some of them aren't happy, okay? And it is so fascinating to me how they just totally relax when they find out that I'm listening to them. And because I just listen to them, and I talk to them, and I say, let me see what I can do, and I just tell them, I said, and I will call you back. They said, I've been told before that Magic Window is going to call me back, and nobody called me back. I said, I'm going to call you back. I said, you can put it down, take it to the bank, you're going to hear from me. They went, really? Really? And so what did I do? I called them back. And you know what every one of them is?
I didn't think you'd call me back.
I didn't think you'd call me back. And I said, well, now you know who you're dealing with. Now here's the funny part. Every time these people have problems, guess who they call?
You.
Me. Am I in that department? No. No, I'm not in that department. I'm not in service. No. But they all call me. Why? Because they got somebody who'll listen and respond to them and who understands what's going on. Folks, Jesus is saying you can do it the self-righteous way and tell everybody how to live and tell everybody what to do and judge everybody by everything they do, or you can do it his way and treat people the way you want to be treated. Let's try to give that work, shall we? Okay? Thanks much. It's been a good one. We're gonna go next week. We're going to go into more interesting stuff as we go on here on through Matthew chapter 7. Okay? Sounds good. Bye, Kenny. See y'all later. Okay?